So how's it going, guys?
All right. I'm working off of 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you gotta love the time change, right?
Well, I mean, the time change happened when I was awake and dealing with with a little thing crying. So it didn't really hit me like that. But actually, the time change helped me because I slept in technically. I think. I
All right.
don't think I. It's hard to lose an hour when you're not sleeping.
Yeah. Well, if you're a night owl, kind of helps to get through those
Yeah.
like extra hour, lose an hour situation. I
Yeah.
remember I work. You know this. Used to work security,
Yeah.
and I would work overnight security. And anytime the time change happened, it was so brutal. Like
I
unless
remember
you
that.
like I mean, like if it was the added hour, it would just suck because it'd be an extra hour on
Trying,
your like 12-hour
trying,
shift or
trying to
something.
remember when I worked. I worked overnights, but it was always a swing shift. But the weekend one, oh, I always had morning. I already had morning shifts on Sundays when that happened for school and for those kind of jobs. Yeah, I remember that being screwy.
You were a real professional security guard because you would like steal food from Sony and like sleep in their cubicles and stuff. Like
Yeah, I would go to the restroom in the CEO's bathroom.
Aaron's radio would reach to our house from his site. And so when we were living together, and so he would come home and I'd see Aaron like sitting on the couch, like eating a
Hmm.
sandwich and like hear his radio going off. Like he's
Yeah,
like, oh, I gotta go.
because at the same, I mean, the only moral hazard was the hourly check-ins like they do. But it's like, hey, blah 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 here, 10-4, I think, if I remember correctly. Just did that. It's kind of the same thing with work from home a little bit. I have people that because we have a work from home job like 20 like the whole time. People have programs on their computer that'll automatically like wiggle their mouse
Hmm.
because for Teams it shows away if you don't move. So if you move it, it shows that you're there.
Right.
So people do that for sure here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've taken my siestas at work before on work from home, but not for the most part.
Can you guys hear me now?
There you
Yeah,
are.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Rock and roll. Here we
Yeah.
go. So how was the CEO toilet? Was it gold?
Mm. It
Was
was
the
still in
toilet paper
construction.
gold?
It was still in construction, but the water was turned on, and there was no toilet paper, so I had to improvise.
Oh. You get some classified documents.
No, it was like no, there was like nothing there. It was pre everybody moving in.
So how'd you improvise? Don't keep us waiting.
Yeah, yellow legal pad.
Better than a
20
smooth stone, I guess. Can't flush those.
I was 25 in a dirt bag. What can I do?
Is that what you use in Haiti? Was a smooth stone?
Yeah, that or you like the banana trees, they like slowly shed like a paper, like out
Mhm.
like their bark kind of like dries up and peels off. And you can, if you're like out, taking a nature poop, you would use that.
I think it would be tough
Yeah.
to wipe with a rock. But the good news is you could just throw that sucker away any direction you wanted. It's
And this,
also a good defensive item if you need it. If you're in the middle of something, somebody comes up on you in a tough situation, well, then you have something to defend yourself with.
yeah,
So
poop rock's pretty deadly.
is there
Sepsis.
like a border between smooth and not smooth when it comes to the wiping?
You want the river rock, right? You want it to kind of
Okay.
be a little
You're like
flatter so you can get that
okay.
scraping action.
Sure. It's like a loofah.
Hmm. And like what's nice too in Haiti is you don't need a poop knife. You don't have to cut your loads up that are too big because you're just either pooping in a hole or just like on the open defecation. So you don't have to cut it up. You guys got your poop knives? Is that a
Yeah, I can't say I've ever heard of a poop knife before, except
I
for
have a
like
bit.
I've heard of people getting shanked in prison by something like a poop knife before, but that's about the closest thing.
Yeah, I guess like big people have to have poop knives because they'll like take super large poops and they got to cut it up before flushing. Um, so anyway, if that's your problem,
Really? Really?
yeah, look it up.
Damn, dude. I got a bidet. That's a modern poop knife, I guess.
No way, dude. Poop knives are like legit. Like anyway, just check it
That's
out.
really
With the
interesting. I
ceramic
mean,
kind, you can heat it up in the microwave and it slices through the poop so much easier.
like butter.
Yeah,
You can use a potato masher.
leaves a nice aroma, like you know. Anyway,
This is one of the strongest intros I think we've had for an episode.
anyway, poop
This
knives
will
should
be
sponsor us.
This will be the poop knife episode. I think that might be a good way to, is to check your health, is if you are to the point of where you need a poop knife, you should probably go on a diet. I mean, I don't want to fat shame anybody. I'm just saying it might be time.
Some people just have big holes. Maybe their poop comes out like a cube. It's not their fault. So, but still, probably check that out. Right?
And I forget what specifically I was reading. There is an animal. I think it's there's a rodent that shits in cubes. They come out as like actual like processed like little cubes.
What?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I've
curds?
seen like pellets, right, from like like rabbits, but cubes. I'm gonna look this up. We've got a full poop episode going
like
here.
A platypus, yeah, something like that.
What did you say? What was it?
It's maybe like a wombat or like a platypus, one of those like little like mammal guys. I swear to God.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. And I gotta say that'd probably be pretty damn uncomfortable coming out. Yeah, like Rubik's cubes coming out your back end. That's not comfortable at all.
This is how do we pivot? How do we pivot out of this?
I thought we were leaning into it.
I think Aaron just quit.
Let's get deep in the shit.
Done. Aaron's actually dealing with shit because he's got a son that he's got to change, I'm sure.
Don't forget the poop knife. Yep.
So,
don't confuse
Mikey,
that with that, but the thing that digs the poop out of your butt. You don't want to shove the poop knife in to get it out, for constipation. I think there's probably a poop stick.
Oh, God. That reminds me of another thing. I was watching Conan O'Brien was doing a video where he visits like this like a dominatrix or something in Germany, and then she has like one of those, you guys know, like those like instruments that you use to kind of like puff air into like a fire pit to kind of like fan the flames.
Sure.
I think a stoker like that, or like, so she had one of those, and then he was questioning what it's for. Yeah, so when you go to, if you want to get your ass played with like at one of these, with like sex workers in Europe, they have these things where they ram it up your ass and it extracts the crap because they don't want to deal with any of that. So it's like a manual shit remover. I remember seeing that and just my jaw dropped.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, you got to clear up the work area, right? You want a clean work area.
There's a colonic irrigation, if you've ever heard of that, where they like put like a vacuum up your butt and like suck everything out. It was in what's the movie, that Eddie Murphy movie where he's a Beverly Hills Cop 2, where the guy Serge, he's got some guy and he's talking all about, it's like, and out comes the candy bar from when you were 5. And like, yeah, but then I heard about it later again, like on some radio show. There's like the colonic king or something, and you can go there and get a colonic flush. So yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah, I don't know, but I guess people die with a lot of poop in their intestines, and that's like a lot of extra weight, that you just kind of carry around. So
like, it's a preventative measure against colon cancer. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I think I'm not a doctor. These days with the internet, I might be a doctor. I don't know.
Qualified.
You're part doctor. Just because you can read and access the internet, just Wikipedia, man. WikiHow.
I spend a lot of time on Reddit, man.
Me too. It's not a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, memory retention is low. So you got to have that access right at your fingertips. That's why WikiHow, I use that a lot. I was a little town doctor in Haiti for a while. Just super glue was my suture. Basically, people would have like machete cuts or whatever, and your like cuts on like tin roofing and stuff happens all the time. So you just push the skin back together and then you super glue it shut. And
isn't that what you did?
Great.
You do that with Ray's forehead too, or something? Or am I wrong about that?
I couldn't, no, because it swelled up like he's got like a North Star right here. It's like perfect.
Yeah, tell me what happened.
The babysitter like came running to me and said the dog knocked him over and he fell into the stairs or something. And he had like this cut and immediately it swelled up. So I had like this, it was like this open mouth, and he was like 1.5 years. And there's no way without like the tie down board. I don't know if you've seen those, but they have like infant tie down boards, like so they can like if they got to set a baby's arm or something, you're right. So they have a board and then there's like straps, like you would see like a torture chamber, like from what was that? Anyway, I can think of the movie, but I can't think of the Jeff. You're like wandering around in the back. It's hilarious. So Princess Bride, when they're torturing him and he's got like the strap across that. They have one of those for children and infants if they have to like work on them because the kids are always like moving around all the time. So I didn't have one of those, right? And I couldn't really operate. I'm not going to pour super glue and miss and drop it in his eye. And it swelled up right away. So I couldn't like push it anyway. If you ever see him, you'll see this. It blends in pretty good. We put on some scar cream on his head for about 2 years, and it's pretty much took away, the very noticeable issues. But if he gets real tan, you can kind of see it, kind of how like the bodybuilders will tan themselves to like show definition on their muscles. When Ray gets tan, you can see his little scar pop out a little bit more. The definition shows up on it. So it's kind of funny. Yeah.
You said you're putting scar cream on it? That's a thing that helps with like healing?
Yeah. Well, to like hide it. Yeah, I'm trying. Mederma, I think, is what we used. Don't confuse that with Moderna. Mederma, like dermatology, like the skin dermish thing. Anyway, epiderm, right? What are you get it?
I wonder how that even works.
Oh yeah,
I wonder how.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird because a scar would be something that protrudes, right? And so like, would the cream like have to eat away layers of the skin, or like how does it, normalize with the other rest of the skin? That's a weird thing, right?
Like Mikey, you said you were the town doctor. Like, what's your medical take on like how that works with the skin?
It created a protective layer so everything underneath it could reform naturally. So your skin will regrow itself, right? And so it has and so it'll have it'll create like a saran wrap kind of thing over it, and it'll dry, and you'll see this white crust or this clear crust, and you only put it on like once a day, and then it creates like a new skin, and then that protects UV rays and lets the scar heal and the skin regrow. So like if it's an old scar, you got to put it on for a lot longer, but the newer scars, and he was young. We only did it for maybe 1 year or 2. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've looked at stuff like that. I've like on my shoulders and stuff. I got like some crazy thing in Hawaii once. I went into a hot tub and got like a crazy, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a weird like extreme rash, right? But like, I don't want to get into details, but it got pretty nasty, and like I ended up having these deep holes in my back. Dang. And yeah, they had to be essentially like glued shut or sewn shut, and so like it got a lot of scars in my back because of that. And I've always wondered about getting rid of the scars. I mean, it's not like I'm walking around with my shirt off a whole lot, but it's interesting,
Yeah, man, you can do it. Facial scars are kind of cool. But when it's like a year and a half, he's like a year and a half. You're like, I don't know about that. He had such like a little, cute face. If he was like 70 or something, whatever.
Yeah, nobody cares then. You got to keep them cute as long as you can until they're out of your, jurisdiction. And then once they go off to do their own thing, they can get ugly as they want. But you kept them cute as long as you could, right?
Right. Well, they're kind of like, kids. It's like your dog. People look at your kid and then they're like, oh, that's a cute kid. And then they look at you, like what's a owner all about? So, and a lot of times I'm known as Ray Ray's dad instead of who I am. So I've taken on a different identity. So to kind of like filter, I take care of my kid, his teeth look good. He's dressed, he's bathed, etc. That reflects good on the parent.
You think you take better care of your kid than yourself?
Absolutely. I demand way more of him than I do of myself. Sleeping hours and, brushing your teeth and diet and stuff, eating correctly for sure.
I think it's just a natural thing. Like as soon as you become a parent, like it's you stop being the star of your show and immediately that kid is the star of your show. I go over and see my nieces and nephews and I see their parents and I'm like, hi, yeah. And then I go see the kids. Like nobody cares about the parents anymore. Kids are way cuter versions of you. They're more fun.
It's actually okay. Like I don't mind it at all. Taking the back seat and letting them step up. It's like definitely I got my own crap to do. You take care of the kid. Now I can go do the laundry or cook food or something.
I think it usually takes like at least like a year or two for the parent to get to that conclusion because like early on you notice they're like real testy and then like by age 2 they're just handing the baby off, throwing it across the room like here you take this, like any chance they can get to like have some personal time, right?
Oh, you get it. You start
really?
doing date night, Aaron. You'll get to that. You're like,
yeah. I already talked to my mom about that last night. She's locked and loaded. All right, I'm gonna help with the diaper change, but you guys are hear the audio of it.
Yeah, no play-by-play.
No, we've already we've done the poop. We've done the poop section of the show.
It is the poop show.
We're gonna rename the show. This is quality content.
Can we play video games while we're podcasting too? Is that cool?
Yeah, we could. I heard about a new Amazon thing. Well, maybe it's not new. I don't know. But I heard about an Amazon thing where you can do like watch parties for like Prime Video stuff. So like you can host and then a bunch of other people can come in and watch the video with you and stuff or the movie. Sounds pretty fun.
You Mystery Science Theater 3000 it or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was not a fart.
We were I love the background commentary. Mikey, we were talking on the last episode about Andor and doing a deep dive into Andor because I haven't watched it yet. So if either one of you guys, Justin or Mikey, want to hop in on that, we're all going to watch Andor and then do a little discussion after it.
What is Andor? I'm not familiar.
It's Star Wars garbage. So like, I think, I like Star Wars garbage. I know Mikey does. I know Aaron does. So there's just certain people that are watching like Mandalorian and stuff. And we've been complaining about how Mandalorian's been going, but I've heard that Andor, the show that came before it, was actually pretty good, but I haven't watched it yet. So we were talking last night or the other night when we were doing the podcast that we'll just watch that and then we'll have a little after the show discussion. I don't want to really do reviews, but I think it'd be fun to do like discussions on shows and stuff. So just an idea.
I'm down.
That'd be game.
I don't have Apple Plus, so
Mikey, let me know. Let me know, Mikey. I got you.
All right, brother.
All right. By the way, I've trolled your HBO Now account and see what you watch. I've done that to all the people I give it to. My mom, my in-laws. I check them all.
And my wife uses it. My wife uses it too.
Okay.
That's my account. Is it okay?
It's fine. And someone, I don't know who, been watching stuff on my account. I don't know who. They're messing with my algo.
Not me, dude. Mine's like all what, Scooby Doo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's all Ray.
Is he hungry?
Hey, so last time we talked, at the beginning we had like a few minutes that we talked before we started recording, and I wanted to go over a story that had happened during that time, because I went out and I grabbed my old bubbler as you guys were talking, and then I like came and I stood in the grass and that was on camera, and I was ripping it, and I don't know actually who's listening, but anyway, some of the water went into my mouth and I started coughing, and I was like doing it like in front of like on the camera before we were recording just for fun. But anyway, I dropped my ganj into the grass, and then I went and like put my bubbler away. I didn't even know it. So when my mom came on camera, you remember when she came on and she was like looking for the dog poop and stuff?
Yeah.
And you're like, who's that gardener? I think that was all before we were recording. And then she went over off to the side, and I started like looking at the ground for a long time. Dude, she picked it up my stash and threw it in the sack with the dog poop, and like threw it in with the other dog poop, and then put it in the house trash and threw it in the trash can. I was freaking out forever, like looking for that stuff. And then finally I was like, oh, I remembered the video, and I remember her pausing there, and I remember what happened. So I go through digging through the trash, right? Thing's still sealed, but it's covered in dog poop, right? So I'm like, fish it out. I just opened it. It was like $50, right? So I'm whatever, right? Like, so I would thought back to our laundry weed days, but like I got the gloves out, opened it up, dumped it into another like sack or whatever. And it was fine, went about my day. But I had to put everything back normal. So in case she saw that I knew, found it, that wouldn't look suspicious that I had, been digging through the shit. So it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely, I'm pretty sure that's in episode 1. You can see her, like, you're trying to be quiet and she's like walking around in the backyard, like looking at the ground. Like, it's definitely in the video. That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness, man. If I went through the video, I was like, there's got to be evidence of this, but I think it was in that time beforehand. At least me dropping it before we started recording was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but her finding it is definitely in there, because as you were telling that story, it makes perfect sense what she's out there doing. Like, so do you think she even knew what it was? Like,
oh yeah, it's from a club, so it's very detailed.
It's all labeled. Yeah. What you should do? Cool name. You should just put it in a poop bag, and then just leave it out in the open. And then, as far as she knows, it's just nobody's going to open a bag of poop. I mean, while we're still on, we've been talking about poop this whole episode, so we might as well keep going with it. But, if you're going to stash something, why not in one of those doggy bags?
Yeah, they sell fake poop, so I could probably modify it. Right
now, you're thinking
it's like a highlighter or like a shaving cream can where you hide it. The fake poop that you hide the weed in.
A piece of dog poop.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's going to be risky because someone might just throw it away if they got OCD or something like that.
You think you could take it into the stadium, like walk in with dog poop?
I mean, I've smelled weed at the stadium. People have probably.
Yeah, I guess.
I've smelled poop at the stadium, so that's possible as well.
That's true.
We could get away with it. Yeah.
Hey, Mikey, tell us about your plastic sheeting while we're on the subject.
Wait, we touched on laundry weed. I don't know who was there for that.
I remember that. I wasn't there for that. I mean, I was there for it back in the day, but not talking about it.
Right. We had bought a bunch, I don't know, of stuff. For some reason, it was in someone's pocket, went through the laundry machine. And so it tasted like laundry detergent. It had a real strong laundry detergent, but it still did the job. And so we had laundry weed for a while. Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of stuff we did back in the day that should have given us cancer, and we should all be dead by now. But
dude, well, Mike, you remember the knife, we're not the cigarette lighters and the knife hits? That was like basically freebasing weed because we didn't have a lighter. We didn't have a lighter or a bowl or anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was back in the day when cigarette lighters came in the cars. You know, you had that thing, so you would just heat that up to red hot and then drop a little nug on top and it would vaporize. It's like our early vape days. And then you just hit it.
Was it even early vape? Oh yeah, it was a long time. It was like 04, 05. But yeah, there's definitely some smoke carcinogens that would probably hit me like a truck today.
Or the people that would like mix tobacco, they would get a cigarette and mix it, and they would mix it with ganja and then hit that through the bong. Oh my goodness.
Who was that who did that a lot in Whittier? I forgot who it was.
We had a buddy and we used to jam with, right, Jeff?
I think he said that.
Yeah, man, with the tobacco hits. Yeah, no, you know what was really bad as far as like carcinogens and all that fun stuff was we used to make these gravity bongs, and so like we would put, what we would do is we'd get like a bit from like a wrench. Is that right? Or no, it's like a socket. It was a socket from a socket wrench, right? You find the right size socket, and then you'd melt the top of a big jug, and then put the socket inside, and then you throw the weed in there, fill up a bucket full of water, put the thing in there, and then you let the gravity pull the water, pull the hit as you light the thing on the top. Well, we were real smart about it, and we used what was it? It was like silicone glue or something on our gravity bong, and so we started getting headaches after a while, and we were using the same one all the time. And then we realized, like, oh, this silicone glue is melting when we're hitting this. Like, so we definitely have been like smoking silicone glue for the past like few weeks.
I had a phase one summer break in college where I was doing like gravity bong hits like every day. And how I did it was I would like drill like a hole into like a bottle cap and jam like a bowl piece into the bottle cap, and then you screw it onto the bottle, and you do like a little hole at the bottom of the bottle of water. You load it up, and then obviously the water drains out, and then it's pulling all the weed out. And then I didn't notice until like in the middle of the summer that like the bottle cap itself started melting like into the bottle too. So I've got similar fears there.
Yeah, plastics, glues, all sorts of good stuff. But as far as I remember, we had a giant piece that we made. Is it the one that we made out of like PVC pipe or something? Like, and then we kept it hidden.
A 3 or 4 inch big black PVC pipe. Thing was thick.
And it was long. It was like 3 feet long or something like that, I think. Long enough to where the only place that we could hide it was in the box of plastic sheeting at Mikey's house up in the rafters. And so the inside joke was always that his dad was going to come walking in and be like, where's that plastic sheeting? I need to, like something that he would never use anytime, but like for some reason he would need it,
Yeah, one day we were all ripped and super creative and went to Home Depot and made this like monstrosity. I think it had like a 2-liter as a top and bottom or something, or a big Gatorade top on it for the big mouthful, and then the 2-liter on the bottom. That's how big it was. It was like and then the down stem and the connector to the bowl and stuff was all like made out of metal that we had like put together from like plumbing stuff at Home Depot. And then yeah, we called it Big Bertha because it was big and black. It was cool back then to do that stuff, but I don't think we'd name it Big Bertha today. But anyway, that was supposedly its name. And we it was so big and long, only like a roll of something like the box of plastic sheeting would work. So it was and it worked perfectly. It was like the poop hiding place, like nobody's gonna look there. It was in a plastic sheeting box in the workshop. And it's sweet. And we used that for a while, but it was like a gram a hit. So it was super expensive.
Oh.
And I remember we had some girls come over one time. We were playing pool and they're like, oh, let's do this or whatever. And we pulled it out and it was like, I think it's like 3 people got a hit or something. There's like 7 of us. It was all awkward. Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, we were real
wouldn't have any
creative.
pictures of this.
No evidence. You know, my most famous one was I was with Brant, who was my downstairs neighbor at like when I had the room, right? So like everybody would come over to the room, Brant would come upstairs. He each practically lived in my room. And one day we were walking home and there were like these road cones that went down on like our main road. And when I say cones, I don't mean like the triangle looking cones, but like the cylinder, like what are they, 4 feet, 5 feet? Like, no, they're like 4 feet, like cylinder cones, the orange ones with the yellow stripes on them, right?
Well, somebody big black base.
Right. Like, usually they super glue them onto the ground, right?
They're like right here, yeah.
Yeah. And so somebody had come down that road and hit one of those, and so it was like loose. And so Brant and I walked over to it and pulled it off of its base, brought it home, cleaned it, and turned it into a giant bong. And then we called it the Roadmaster. And it was like, it was a rite of passage that you would have to clear the Roadmaster if you came into the room. Just silly teenage shit, but
it's always fun to hear about stoner engineering, how everyone, when you're desperate to get a hit, you have resources available to you, you'll find a way, you'll figure it out somehow.
Right. Sometimes you only need a snorkel, an avocado, and a corkscrew.
An apple.
Yeah, I made bongs with less,
some
man.
Dedication. Yeah.
Rolled up foil.
Yeah, that's when you really feel like, oh man, I feel like a crackhead.
Or well, I don't think I smoked it, but I've seen people do newspaper to roll something. It's horrible. It burns horribly. You're smoking ink, the whole shebang. I didn't do it.
Ink.
I've seen people do that.
You ever smoked the Bible?
No, that sounds pretty cool. Actually, those pages are pretty thin.
Yeah, glad I got out of my phases without doing that. It was a direct ticket somewhere I don't want to go.
Purgatory for about 3 million years.
What happened to forgiveness, Michael? I mean, we all make mistakes, right? And sometimes you run out of papers, and the only thing you can find is the closest thing to rolling papers. That Bible paper tends to be very thin. And it's kind of, I mean, if you were to have 2 sheets of Bible paper and some rolling papers next to each other, it'd be pretty comparable. I'm just saying that.
You got to pick and choose. You have to pick and choose your pages. Like, not the good stuff. Just take out the bad stuff and roll that out.
No, it's just a blank page in the front. They always have that blank page. So it's not like I'm pulling out scripture. It's just like, hey, I'm using that notes page just in case. Mm-hmm. That is my note.
Got to be a good Bible verse for that.
Oh no, some of that nasty Old Testament stuff you could probably just.
There's got to be something about a burning bush in there.
Yeah, sure. But that chapter's pretty good though.
It's probably a good idea now that it's all legalized to have Bible versed rolling papers.
There's got to be.
That's $1 million idea.
Yeah, I like how it went from damnation to now this is a good way to spread the word of the gospel.
There was a time, man. There was a time where it would have been bad, I think. But now it's it's cool because the Bible says you got to respect the laws of the land, right?
Yeah, I'm sure the Pope would be cool with it. He's cool with gay folks and aliens and all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, he's quite progressive.
Yeah, he probably listens to our podcast up until this episode, and then he's like, I'm done with all the poop stuff.
Well, he didn't get this far. You can keep talking about him if you want then.
What's this? Did he make an actual comment about aliens?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came out and said, well, not aliens specifically, but just other entities in the universe other than just humans on Earth. And
so he doesn't believe in the Fermi paradox. Okay.
Fermi paradox, yeah. Interesting.
Maybe we'll bring Jesus back finally, but he'll be a machine. And it's something that they just gotta, the church has to finally accept that, like, if Jesus is going to come back, it's probably going to be in a digital format, right? He comes back, he's AI, starts hanging out with Kanye.
Jesus AI.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if he did come back, we would believe that he was AI because we don't believe in anything that's not tangible, kind of thing. Because people treat AI like God now, like it's some supernatural force where it's not that. It's just a computer program that's built by humans.
Yeah, I was watching something last night about people that were like, they released like a chatbot / like a dating app kind of thing for AI, where you're like dating this fake robot person on your phone, and they updated the file and like changed the way that the AI acted, and people are like raging and like depressed and upset.
They took away all the sex stuff, like as it was used by shut-ins. Let's be honest here. And they took away the sex stuff because it violated the TOS of like the app stores, right? Because you can't have sex apps for the app store, and that's how they get their bread. So that's fine. But yeah, you're exactly right. After they took it out, people were just the Reddit forums just lit on fire.
You can't have sex apps in the app store.
Yeah.
What is like Grindr?
No, like solicitation. Like solicitation, like I forgot the exact wording of it, but it's like can't be porn, even though Grindr
is OnlyFans in that?
I don't think so, actually. I don't know. Good point. But yeah, all the AI stuff is kind of like blown out of proportion, in my opinion. Like, for example, so I work in tech type stuff, and we've used ChatGPT for things, and it's wrong like 40% of the time. It's good to TLDR some stuff. Like if you don't know how to like properly explain something without diving into a Google hole. But like when you kind of dig into the weeds, for the most part, it's not exactly spot on. Like I'm not worried about it taking my job because it would do a horrible job if it did my job or whatever. It'd be good for copywriting. Like people who just write copy for a living, that's probably where it's going to hurt. But it's not that smart comparatively.
Give it like 5 more years, it's going to get incredible. Because like I understand what you're saying, that like people look at it and turn it into something else, right? You can turn inanimate objects into things that have feeling if you're desperate enough. I think there's all sorts of stories about people marrying trees or their car. So I think that people are going to create the value in their head when it comes to this AI stuff. And even though it's just some dude or a group of people that are programming these answers or this algorithm, like people will give it personality eventually. I mean, it's already happening with like Bing and all that crap.
Well, the thing is, the personality is programmed into it.
That's what I'm saying. But like people can create that in their head. Like I said, there's that dude who married his car. You guys seen this?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting where it's going to go, especially now where it's like heavily like bubble monetized. Like there's a million AI companies that are getting money now because it's going to be like going to get really big, and then it's going to be like a lot of Bitcoin a lot of crypto, and just kind of like more than half of them are just going to disappear, and it's going to be like one company, like the Bing and Google, Microsoft and Google.
So.
Who married their car? Was it Knight Rider? Because that would make sense.
No, it was not an AI. It was not a smart car. It was just like a Nissan or something. Like I don't even remember what it was. I just know it was like some schlubby dude who like really loved his red car. And there's like videos of him like loving on it and like kissing it. And
there's a girl who married a truck.
There's a girl who just married herself.
Like
some streamer.
Oh God. Don't Google.
And now she wants to get a divorce. Oh yeah, well turn your safe search on, buddy.
I mean, this is
How would you divorce your car? You're like, you're just not doing it for me anymore. I love this other
You divorce
car.
you divorce your car in the same way that you play that little round when you're playing Street Fighter, and you just like beat the fuck out of the car, and that music comes on.
It was old school, man. That was like one of the levels, right? You had to beat up the car to go on.
Yeah.
What happened to that in video games, where you just have random beat the fuck out of inanimate objects sections? They still have that in Street Fighter?
I don't even know. Street Fighter now is like a weird anime Dragon Ball Z looking thing.
I'm not much of a fighting game guy either, but back in the day, arcade life, Palace Arcade and Poway, it was like you stepped up with a quarter. That was a different time than just like hopping online and getting your ass beat by some dude who spends all day playing the game.
I had Mortal Kombat 3 on Genesis back in the day. I played the hell out of that.
Invite your friends over and just pass controllers. That was good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the Nintendo 8-bit. We had, before that, we did ColecoVision. And then we did the 8-bit, and then we moved up through there. But I remember having 8-bit when I think that was like the first thing that was like specifically for the kids. We had a Commodore 64 before that, had the floppy disks.
You had all the good stuff.
Yeah, that was a bit more difficult. When the 8-bit came out, it was perfect. There's like just A and B, start select, and then the D-pad. So it was just, it was awesome. And we played that for a long time. Yeah, and then, that probably dates me. But then I got into that. That's how I started gaming.
That was my first console, was the original Nintendo Entertainment System. It's good stuff, man. I played a lot of Mario Brothers pretty much, and then followed that Nintendo route up until PlayStation came out, and I think I jumped on board on PlayStation 2, which in my opinion is the best console ever made.
GTA, that's got me hooked. That and Tony Hawk, right?
It had a DVD player, a CD player, and you could play your video games on it. Like, you didn't need to buy all the extra stuff. Like, back in the day, you would have to have like a dedicated CD player. You would have to have a DVD player, and then you'd have your video game console. This came out and eliminated all that. It was like the iPhone before the iPhone. It just had everything in it. So you just get that one thing. You didn't have to worry about it.
Isn't it true that like the new gaming systems, because I don't have any of those, can basically you can stream, like sign into Netflix and HBO and all that stuff like on the PS5 or Xbox One? Like it's like an all-in-one thing.
Yeah. It's essentially this. It has like the same like Roku system that anything else does.
Got it.
The best thing about like the newest PlayStations, and I've always thought this after PlayStation 2, is like anytime there's a new PlayStation, they're just making the one from last time that actually works. So like PlayStation 3, it was a piece of garbage in my opinion. And then PlayStation 4 was a PlayStation 3 that worked. And then PlayStation 5 is a PS4 that works. So it's like they have all these big ideas and they put it in the console, and then they can't really actually pull it off. And then the next console does. So it's kind of a weird model. That's how I view it, at least. Like, you don't have to wait for loading screens or any of that crap on this new PS5. Like, everything is instantaneous. The other thing is we spent all this time eliminating loading screens, getting technology to the point of where we could do that. And now everything we play is online. You got to wait for everybody to queue the fuck up. So it takes like even longer than loading screens. Like, I hate this shit.
Yeah, that stuff's ridiculous. Pretty soon they're going to put AI into your console there. You're going to have like you have a chat bot like integrated into your PlayStation, and and so you won't have to use Alexa or anything anymore and move that off. And then you're going to be able to upload personalities, right? You guys are talking about like sex ones, and then maybe a Jesus personality into your X would be like, you're playing a little too much, Jeff. Everything in moderation. Start quoting verses at you, and maybe you get like a gamer personality. It's like, come on, man, come on, bro, ready up. I think it'd be super sweet.
That's really interesting. Imagine having an AI, like a religious person, so that they could, dedicate themselves even further to their religion. and they just have Jesus cruising around with them, like in their Google glasses or something all the time. And he's always just reminding you, like, no, we can't have meat today. It's fish sticks today.
Once robotics catches up, you'll be able to load your AI Jesus into it, and everyone will have their personal, Jesus, whatever they want, right?
Is that a Depeche Mode reference?
No, but it could be.
Did you guys watch anything this week? I heard Star Trek is back in full force.
They announced they're gonna discontinue Discovery, so we were talking lots of trash. So hooray! And that's about
Congratulations.
it. Picard's going off, and then they halt. That's about it. That's all I know. And then I re-looked into Picard being a robot.
Yeah,
it's only partial. It's just like he's like it. No, he was already part Borg. It's okay.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But I thought he was a clone. No, I was wrong about that.
I think he's just cybernetic. He just like.
Okay.
I'll have to look into it further, but I think he was just recreated in a way.
All right, so he's like a cyborg, right? Part machine, but there's still some human in there.
Right. And it's the last season, and I'm noticing they're using a lot more CGI. Like he'll go into like a dream state or something, and they'll be able to CGI all the people. So it's pretty fun.
Sweet. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like the classic cast back. Geordi, bunch of the
Worf.
Yeah. I the reason that I know so much about Star Trek, and people who watch this channel probably know this, but like I watch Red Letter Media all the time, and they do like full talks on Star Trek, a bunch of that crap. So that's literally how I get my news on Star Trek, because I don't really care. I just like watching those guys talk about bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's still going off. I love to side screen it and watch what's going on.
Nice. Yeah, I think all of my shows come on tonight, so not much of an update on the stuff that I'm watching right now. Just gotta hold out hope that tonight's Last of Us closes out the series appropriately.
Is this the season finale tonight?
I believe so. It's either this week or next. I'm pretty sure this is the last one though.
How's it been overall? I know everyone's talking about the show. I'm not the biggest on, like, I didn't love the games. I'm not huge on the story, but people seem to love it, including like people that have never played the games. Like, what do you think so far?
I think it's great, and I don't think that you need to play the games to enjoy it. I think it gets across the main storyline of the game. But if you were a big fan of the games and you hold that story real close to your heart, then you'll notice that they're rushing through a lot of stuff that you kind of wish they would have taken time with. They're just rushing through it and spending time on stories that we don't really care about, like expanding the universe in weird ways. You used to listen to Wu-Tang, right?
Yeah.
Have you been watching that series at all?
I haven't. I should, though. I know it's on Hulu, and it's one of those things where I'm a focused watcher, so as soon as I finish something, I need to start it. Is it just one season?
I'm not sure. I want to say that there's multiple. I just saw like ads for it. I haven't watched it.
Is it nonfiction, or like how is it? Is it like dramatized?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a recreation of their story, like coming up, and a lot of the infighting and stuff like that.
Interesting. I didn't know what the setup was. If it was like a documentary or like kind of like fictionalized, whatever you want to call it, dramatized. Sorry. Okay.
I'm not a huge Wu-Tang fan, but that's just because I've never really delved in. I'm not really like the last like hip hop stuff I listened to was like Jurassic 5 in like the 90s.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely, I mean, you're right. It's kind of like you have to be into that type of, not culture, that's not the right term, but like that kind of vibe to like kind of latch on. Cause like, for example, for The Wire or the show that I'm watching now, Snowfall, if you're not into that sort of stuff, then it's hard for you to latch onto it. Like everybody, all the older people in my life try to get me to watch Yellowstone, but I don't want to fucking watch Yellowstone. That's because that's not my thing, right? I don't care about the country people trying to save their land. Like, I don't really care about that stuff personally. I, like watching inner city stuff or whatever.
Right. And you watched Homicide back in the day too, right?
I wasn't a huge fan, but I watched it.
Because that essentially was the homogenized version of The Wire, right? So like it was all the same writers and a lot of the same actors and the same people from the same area because they're all actually in Baltimore. And then when they filmed The Wire, they had a chance to do it without any of like the I think it was on CBS or something. So they didn't have to worry about like they could do all the cussing and the violence and stuff. And
Homicide Life on the Streets was like I think it was CBS or NBC, I don't know, but it was very serialized. Is it serialized when it's like one episode at a time? Like they have very self-contained stories. The Wire is
honestly, it honestly was a little bit of both. So like Law and Order is your stereotypical, like you can watch an encapsulated episode and then watch another one from a different season, not really have to worry about the ongoing story. Homicide was like with like real stories about the street, but then also like an overarching story in the background. So essentially Law and Order with a bit more drama in the back. And they actually had crossover episodes with Law and Order all the time too. So like their characters would be on Law and Order. I was not a huge Law and Order fan, but man, I loved Homicide. And then you got me into The Wire, and then I realized the connection there because of all the characters and stuff. But The Wire is one of the best shows ever made. R.I.P. John Munch.
Oh yeah, he was a real dude. I like that guy. He was a JFK guy, Aliens guy too.
Really?
Yeah. Richard Belzer, he was into all that.
He's a famous family member too. Who's he related to? He's related to somebody like he's related to Fonzie.
Really?
The Fonz, yeah. Two badass characters you would never think like, but those characters from different generations are very similar to one another. Justin's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about, you old fucking you dusty fucks?
But I don't know what to talk about.
Have you ever watched The Wire, dude?
No, I've had it recommended a number of times. I don't know if there's much interest, honestly. I'm sure it's good. I prefer like lighter television, not like super heavier stuff like that, but I hear it's very good.
Yeah, it is extremely heavy, and I would say like it's probably second to like Breaking Bad for me as far as like my favorite shows, and both are very, very heavy, like sometimes hard to watch.
That's another one everyone recommends to me. They're convinced I'd love it. I might, but I watched like the first 3 episodes of Breaking Bad. I'm like, God damn, it's just so like sad. Ugh.
It's a tough first season to get through. Yeah. Tough first episode, really. They got the dude tied up downstairs. I think that's in the first episode.
It's in the first 3, yeah.
It's early.
I did a rewatch of Breaking Bad like 6 months ago because I was watching Better Call Saul, and I was like, I might as well watch the Breaking Bad because it's all on Netflix. Definitely,
I feel bad. I need to catch up with Better Call Saul.
It's legit, man.
I mean,
it's a different type. It's a different type of show, and I think to Justin's point, it's a little bit lighter too. If that's kind of like your entry point, it's not as drug dealer methy stuff as it is on Breaking Bad. I mean, there's a little bit of it toward the end, but like it's not the whole thing. It's more of a lawyer, Saul Goodman thing.
It's a procedural, yeah.
Kind a little bit of that, but it's also kind of still the wider ranging stuff. It's still a prequel at the end of the day, not like a cheesy prequel like a lot of other stuff. But it's kind of tough to like compare the two. Like one's better than the other, but I felt that Better Call Saul had more there, like emotionally, because Breaking Bad, to his point, was like it's like a cops and robbers, for lack of a better term, stuff, and drug dealers and people getting disintegrated and kids dying, you know, blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff. Like that's hard to like. That's a cool show to watch, and it's like water cooler stuff when big things happen. But Better Call Saul was more like slow burning the entire way.
What I liked about Breaking Bad was that they had an idea when they went into it, right? Which you rarely have when you're like putting together shows these days. And that was that they were going to take, you know, Joe Schmo family man and turn him into kingpin of drugs and cartel stuff. So like you got to see them like slow burn that all the way down to that character. And it was a dark, you know, route, but it was, to me, the fact that there is a beginning, middle, and end is so important, considering we're just talking about Lost and some of the other things, that it's like, man, like such a bummer when you get to the end. So you guys watch what is the one on Netflix with the superheroes? Can't think of it right now.
Are you talking about the Amazon one on with superheroes?
Maybe it is.
The Boys?
The Boys, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is Amazon. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only reasons I have Prime.
Fucking love that show.
I mean, they have good movies on Prime, actually. It is a great show. It's definitely entertaining.
You watch that, Justin?
I haven't watched it, but I want to start picking up. I think it's based on a graphic novel. I am a graphic novel guy. I want to start reading that. I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, so refreshing if you're like burnt out from the Marvel world and you just need like, you still like that comic book world, but like, you know, it's the same as comic books, right? You'll like read Amazing Spider-Man for so long and you're like, I'm just tired of the same stories. And then you jump over to like Sandman or something way like I watched or read a book called The Witches. Just like, damn, like, you know, like it'll change the way that you read comics. It'll change the way you watch TV, because those graphic novels sometimes are way better than the other.
Did you watch Sandman on Netflix?
I didn't. No.
I watched the first 3 episodes and then life happened, so I kind of stopped. But it was good. It's, again, I didn't read the graphic novel, but it's pretty moody to say the least. But it's like it's more, you know, devil, gods, not gods, that kind of thing. From what I read, it's a little bit different from the novel, but nothing too crazy.
I watched Preacher when that was on a few years ago, and that was a nice adaptation. Unfortunately, not enough people watched it, so it went the way of the dodo.
Fans of that sort of stuff are not understanding to the nuances of stuff. I don't know, narratives. I don't know what the right term is. They don't like changes. It's the way Star Wars had a whole kerfuffle in 2018, 2017. Whenever that was, whenever Last Jedi came out, like that, just then, you know, the Gamergate stuff, like people who are highly, it's kind of like the thing that we talked about with sports the other day, where people have their identity wrapped up in something, and then when something changes or someone changes it, they kind of get like torn to pieces. They take it personally. Like I can't tell you how many people I heard that were like, they were like personally hurt that Luke Skywalker did this, this, and this. Like, I'm the biggest fan of Star Wars as the next person, but I'm not going to get tore up by what a writer did from a fake character.
That's really good perspective, because, you know, as you know, it's like my first couple years actually following sports. And so I'm definitely applying some of those classic rules of fandom to sports. And so like when we lost Profar, I was like, why you got to do that to me? Like, yeah, like I love Profar, but like, yeah, I took it personally, man. I was like, how dare you guys? So,
well, because also in our heads, we don't believe that it's money based or like it's for profit, right? And we that disconnect is not, that is there. Like you kind of look at it for the looking at its sake, but you forget that it's a business. So
yeah, well, they do a great job of you know, promoting the personalities along with the show or the sport, whatever it may be.
That's why I have a rule: don't buy any sports jersey of a player that's actively playing. Just a general rule, because if they change teams, if they do something bad, whatever.
I think it's probably safe to get a Machado jersey at this point.
Is it though?
Dude, 11 years? Come on. We're good. We're good for 11 years. You can get that in your Bogarts jersey, and you'll be okay.
Well, it's not just changing teams. It's also if they end up like beating their girlfriend or something like that.
Well, yeah, actually, funny enough, we were at a game and it was right after the Tatis drama with the steroids and right after we had just gotten Soto, right? And somebody was walking to their seat in front of us, like, doing the sideways walk. And so like his jersey was viewable to the entire crowd behind him. And he had gotten duct tape and changed the name on his jersey from Tatis to Soto. Like the number and everything. Oh man, the crowd loved it because it was like, fuck you, man, for doing some stupid shit, and we'll celebrate somebody who's trying to do it right. I liked it. I thought it was funny as hell. I am a nerd. So.
There is a what's it called? There's like some credit card, and you can get insurance on the jersey that you buy. So if they change teams within the year of you buying the jersey, you get your money back.
Oh my god!
It's like some American Express, NBA.com, something or other. Because I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Laker fan, right? I can get a Russell Westbrook jersey for like $30, where they used to be $200 or $150.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I've learned a lot of things about sports because I'm way more interested in it than I ever have been, but like also about the business of sports, right? And one of the things that I found out the other day, or I guess last season, was that when they do their shirts and stuff for like players, and when you get to the playoffs, they print off an entire run of like playoff champs, merch. So hats, shirts, everything, right? And then if they don't win, they just send it off to another country like Haiti or something. So you've got a different country walking around with like all these like, winners. Like, when did Padres win the World Series in this year? Like, no.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to roll. I got stuff to go. I'm going to the circus, and so I got to go put on my clown makeup.
I expect a full report.
Yeah, well, I'm leaving Ray for the circus. Of course. So you'll just get the report from him.
Oh, I thought you meant you're leaving Ray at the house so that you can go to the circus.
No, I'm running away with the circus.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Good move.
It's at the North County Fair right now. Vargas. Yeah, Circus Vargas.
Cool, man. I hope nobody falls off a trapeze or anything.
Yeah, they said they needed clowns. I can get hit in the head.
We have ours, and they can borrow him for a little bit. Hey, what'd you think of my video I made?
Dude, then the one about the atomic bomb. I got something in common with the president. That's all I'm saying.
That's one way to look at it. You're a clown just like the president.
Where's the filters when you need them? All right, well, That's it. I better go, because if I don't go, I can't come back.
Nailed it.
All right, later.